Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. My name is Jose, I am a Godan in Kendo, and today we're going to be watching and talking Kendo. The plan for today is we're going to watch some Ippon videos and discuss a little bit about why was the Ippon successful, what are some of the things that we can do in order to increase our chances for Ippon, and hopefully we're going to enjoy this and have a good time here, okay? Lily, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for passing by. And let me see something. Let me see. Oh, my camera. Yeah, I knew about this. Give me 1 second, guys. Gotta make sure that my camera is working. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I had a little bit of forgot to set that up, I guess. So I just wanted to make sure that happened. Everything's good. Okay, everything should be fine now. If you're here, let me know that you're here by either saying hello or hitting the like button. It really helps the stream, to get pushed out to more people, and that way a lot of people can enjoy this as well. And I realized I messed up again. I always keep thinking that the camera should be in this side so I can look at the screen when I'm here, but now, the camera should be here. Anyways. There's a couple of things I wanted to kind of bring up. A little bit about practices. How are you guys practicing, and what are some of the challenges that you're facing? And maybe share a little bit about what I'm doing right now in practices. The other thing is I'm trying out different times to figure out what will be the best time to share this stream. So let me know in the comments if you watch this later. To know if it's a good time for you, maybe to do a little bit different, because right now I'm in Japan, so it's morning for me. So normally I do my streams a little bit later on the night, but getting kind of tough. So, and I'm giving a little bit of time because I feel like my system is having a little bit of connection issues. So let me know if there's any lag in here too. This week I got a question about Ki. And because I mentioned in my video for my Golden test that I struggle a lot with Ki, and I still do. So one thing that I wanted to really focus on for my Golden test was to improve that. And I'm not the best at Ki, by the way. I'm not exceptionally good or anything like that. But I kind of wanted to share some of the things that I think helped me improve my Ki, and maybe you can share some that you're doing on some things that you have heard in order for everybody to improve. You saw a comment from Richie. Richie, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much. So you came in time, so this time works for you, so that's good. Maybe I should start doing 2 streams in the week, like maybe you should do 1 in the morning and then 1 this in the afternoon, late night for me, not too late, so that way I can get different countries as well. Nick, how you doing, man? I know you sent me a message, and I've been so busy that I haven't really replied. So I'll catch up with you a little bit later. But you said, will you be able to stream in the morning with your classes? So right now my classes are in the afternoon, so I could do streams in the mornings, right? For now, and worst case scenario, I could also do stream in the mornings on the weekends, right? Like when my classes switch up. So that'll be good. Mike, recently new to my channel, pretty wild. There's a lot more Kendo centric channels these days. Yes, and it's funny because when I started, I got a lot of pushback, and I did it kind of as a way to kind of remind me of the things that I wanted to keep in mind and things like that. But now I'm happy. I think what triggered it off, what really pushed it off, was COVID, right? Because there were a lot more acceptance of doing things online, and a lot of channels are starting to pop up. So I'm actually very happy with that, because the main reason why I kept this channel was to kind of provide more resources in English and hopefully at some point in Spanish. But time is killing me when it comes to that. It takes me so long to do the content in both languages, so I decided to stick to one. Lily, you get that? Yours are 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit challenging, when it comes to managing time. Okay, cool. So let's go on to the tips for Kiai. Nick, you're saying for Kiai, your tips you may be a little bit odd, but you use the same method for Kiai used for playing trombone. Actually, that is very interesting because a lot of what I do is what I learned from music therapy for singing. So that's actually, I think it's very, I think we're gonna talk about the same thing. You said from the diaphragm. Yes. Also use circular breathing for both kendo and scuba diving. But I don't know how scuba diving, but the circular breathing I know is for for wind instruments, but I don't know if that applies for kendo, right? Because it's about producing the sound rather than keeping the air flowing in your lungs. But anyways, I'll be interested. I will research more on that when it comes to circular breathing for scuba diving. That's actually very interesting. Shen, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. I just came back from disc golf. I used to play a lot of disc golf back in college. It's fun. And as a matter of fact, there were a lot of courses in Tallahassee, so I really enjoyed, not a lot of courses, but there was a lot of accessibility to the courses in Tallahassee, so I enjoyed it a lot. Mike, you said that it's helpful been learning Kendo for a long time without an English speaking sensei. Oh, if you don't mind me asking, what language does your sensei speak? That's very interesting, especially if English is if that language is not your first language, right? You're saying, Richie, the problem is that you live in Mexico and usually you're out of your house and you lose the stream when it starts. I see. Well, it's always there. If normally what I do is I put them unlisted, but I put them in a list that is in the past streams, and you'll be able to see all the streams. And if not, the Discord server, which I see that Nick has mentioned in the Discord server, so anybody that's not there that would like to join the Discord server, it's completely free. The link should pop up in the chat in a second. And if you would like to support the channel, you can become a member, and the member link should be coming up soon. That way, you can help me make more of these videos, and you also get a couple of extra perks there that hopefully you'll enjoy. Mike, you said that your sensei was from Korea, so you had a hard time learning for some time, but somehow you got me that. It's cool, right? Because there's a lot of things in Kendo that we learn from watching, but definitely, especially I think for us Westerners, we need to have a little bit of reasoning on why. I was talking about this with Blake in our stream, which, by the way, on the 14th of October, I'll be doing a live stream with Blake Bennett from Kendo Coach. So if you haven't subscribed to his channel, I'll be doing it in his channel this time. So hope you guys enjoy that. Oh, cool, Mike. So you know about the commands, cool. I should maybe make a list of the commands. So yeah. And Shen, if you're leading your dojo, is there a way for you to stream your practice? I am not leading my dojo right now in Japan. It's a little bit tricky, right? Because some people don't want to be in camera. That's definitely a little bit of a struggle for me. As a matter of fact, if you notice some of my latest videos, I'm kind of like recording myself kind of on the corner. I blur out all the nafuda just to make sure that everybody keeps their confidentiality. But so yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. What I wanted to do is maybe start streaming some events that I could go to and stuff like that. But I'm still getting used to where things are here, so I'll be doing that. That'll be definitely something to do soon. Okay. And Lily, yes, you can watch the recording. Again, it will stay there. But it will be in his channel though. So keep that in mind. So discipline. Okay, so if somebody can give me a brief explanation of the circular breathing used for scuba diving, because the one that I know for wind instruments, or what I understand for circular breathing, has to do with keeping the air coming out of your mouth, right? So in order to do that, the technique is that you push air out from your lungs, fill up your cheeks, and while you're breathing in with your nose, you're pushing the air out from your cheeks, right? And you do a quick breath and you keep that air coming out. So this is the technique I know as circular breathing. And I am aware that it could be something different out there. So if somebody can give me a brief explanation, that would be awesome. So let me give you my tips on ki. And I'll catch up with the comments, and we'll go into some of the videos. But if you haven't, guys, please hit that like button. Make sure that this video gets pushed out to more people. So these are some of the things that I noticed, and some of the things I had to do with what I learned from the type of breathing using singing. And as Nick said, breathing with your diaphragm is key. So a lot of times when we're running or exercising, or we just think about taking a deep breath, we fill up or we filled up from the top, and we fill up our chest. But the way it should be done is that your belly should start coming out as you fill up. So an exercise that I was given when I was in school, again, studying music therapy, is to put a water bottle between you and the wall, right, with your belly. And then as you breathe in, you should push yourself out with your breath, right? So as you breathe in, your belly should start filling up, and you start pushing yourself out. An easier way to do this too is also be laying down and put the bottle on top of your belly. And not at the bottom of your belly, by the way, it's closer to the diaphragm, right? And you start breathing in, and the bottle should be coming up, not your chest. So this is one thing that I picked up from school that I was able to apply into Kendo. The other thing also that I learned from the singing classes from music therapy is that you don't want to stop your air with your throat. So the mistake that a lot of times we make in Kendo is that we do our first ki, yeah, and then we stop the ki, we stop it with the throat, right? So we still have pressure here, but that the air is being stopped by our throat. And even though we feel that we have pressure, the diaphragm already kind of disengaged. So when the breath is gonna come out, it's not gonna come out with power. And what's going to happen is that one, it could be delayed, right? You're gonna hear the ki a little bit after than when you really wanted to give the sound. And the other thing is, of course, is you're not gonna have that power on your coming up from your diaphragm, so it's gonna kill your ki a lot. So it's funny, and it's not funny, but it's interesting how I remember when I was being taught kata, that I was told you should think about it one breath from the kamae all the way until you finish the kata, right? So in this sense, if you think about it this way, you breathe in, you do your ki, sa, you stop the sound, but you keep the air kind of going out slightly, keeping the speed here. And then when you throw the ki, when you throw the technique, you do the ki, just allowing the sound to be produced, but the air is already there. So it's going to be more of an explosion of air to make the sound come off. Then to stop the ki, again, after you're done with your technique, you don't stop it with your throat. What you do is that you breathe in again. So this way, you also keep in mind that you want to keep the air circulating and to make sure that you're always having a breath. And this will force you also, by releasing all the air out until you're done with your technique, it will force you to take a bigger breath. So you fill up your lungs, and you have the energy to keep going. What's the other thing? And then the other thing, it's being engaged during your Kihon practice, right? Like you want to keep this engagement during your Kihon practice. Maybe during Jigeiko you don't want to think about it this much, or you want to think about it the least possible. But during your Kihon, use that time to focus on how to improve your ki. And sometimes that means that we won't be able to focus so much in other stuff. So always try to pick one or two things to be doing during your Kihon rather than, overwhelm yourself with everything. Okay, let me catch up with some of these comments. Nick, you're saying all Japan Kendo Federation guidelines requires names to be blurred out, etc., without receiving express permission from each individual, so it can be hard. So yes, and even though, so my thing with the dojo and why I blur out the seconds and then Afuda and stuff like that, because it's not only about the All Japan Kendo Federation, because especially when it comes to public events, I don't think there's really anything that they can do when it comes to that. But especially because I don't want to put people in an uncomfortable situation where I'll ask them, and because they're trying to be nice, they're gonna say yes. So yeah, I'm trying to avoid, like putting pressure on people and things like that. Lily, Australia has a referendum on the 14th, so you're working from 6:30, and Head Sensei will be having his 60th birthday party that night. That's cool. So don't worry, the stream will be there. Lily said you never heard of circular breathing. So if somebody can give that circular breathing technique for the scuba diving, Nick, I'm looking at you. Please send that out. Shen, you're saying that Imanishi Senpai described his breathing technique during the Shimpan seminar, and he demonstrated by making a sound. And that's actually very cool because that's actually also a singing exercise, right? And you're keeping the pressure out, but there's not so much air coming out. So this is much better by stopping it with the tongue than stopping the breath with here. And you can feel it, right? Like if you stop and then you come out again, the air come out again, like there's like a little bit of an extra air, but it gets paused. Lily, so you're saying that it's a technique to slow down your heart rate. Okay, I'm gonna look it up later. In Keiko, you played against a lad who plays a lot of distances, moving to the sides and back. He won the Keiko basically timing and out of chasing you. Could you give some tips? Ooh, okay, so the first thing is that when it comes to that, when you have a jumpy opponent and your kendo is not this type of kendo, you cannot fall into their game. Because if you start doing that, then your kendo is going to be different and you're not going to be used to, or you're not going to be familiar with the things that you're doing. So you want to try to find the timing. And I always think about it, and of course, this is something that takes a lot of experience, but I always think about it as in everything that somebody does, whether it is moving or not moving, it's also giving information to you. So when the person is moving a lot, you want to try to figure out their timing. But what I have to say this, and this is something that I got reminded to about this week in practice, is that and I want to make a video about this, by the way, but the first person that moves normally is the person that will win the engagement. But that doesn't mean the first person to attack, right? Because what you want is that with that first motion to get a reaction and then catch your opponent within that reaction. And I'm oversimplifying this, by the way, like don't take this as face value as I'm saying it right now, because there's a lot more into it. But the idea here is that you don't want to be reacting. So if your opponent is moving around a lot and you're being static, most likely what's going to happen is that your opponent is going to approach you, then you're going to get, rattled. And at that point they attack and they have an opportunity to hit you. But if instead you're trying to figure out the timing, and right when you're thinking, oh, they're about to come in, even at this point, you just do a little bit of a motion forward, they're gonna be like, oh, that wasn't my time to go. And then that gives you an opening. That starts giving you an opening, so you start understanding what is it that you can do in order to push yourself into getting more openings. Hope that makes sense. But it all has to do with timing. Yeah, it definitely all has to do with timing. Richie, snipe him out with Atsuki. Yeah, that's easier said than done, bro. That's easier said than done, especially when you have somebody that's really good at moving forward and back. Like Hoshiko, for example, right? If you watch Hoshiko, a lot of his ippons are that he comes in forward, then the person kind of starts committing to a man, and when they do that, he kind of take a half step back, messes them up, and then he comes in for a technique. So when you have this type of individuals, it's very hard, and it's very hard to adapt if you miss too, right? Because they're hoping for you to miss in order for them to get that ippon. Richie, you're saying, is a life difficult because he's smaller than you and you don't reach him? In the last point, he went by with the second kata of Keiko. So it sounds to me that he is not necessarily unreachable, right? Like, it's not that you cannot reach him, and it's not that he can attack you from farther than you can attack him. That's what I mean. But it sounds to me that he's really good on his feet. So the main thing is that you want to get a reaction before you do the technique, right? You don't want to just go and attack blindly. So again, I'll try to make a video pretty soon about, when to attack. I have one, if you look it up in my channel, about when to attack, that can give you a little bit of a hint on that. So I'm gonna make another video that adds to that. Nick, you're saying you can pull those kinds of opponents out, similar to how you seme for Menkai Shido by initiating the opponent's movement with your own. Then you can strike their own timing. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Like, you want to make them have a reaction. Don't just attack them. So whether the reaction is to, for them to, freeze, come forward, throw a technique, attack, and stuff like that. This is what you're looking for. So you want to also, of course, prepare yourself into what is it that I can do depending on what reaction I get. And this is where your experience and, I call this vocabulary will help you. So again, for those who are members, if you would like to send me a video for me to review and give you some feedback, you can do so as well. Okay, guys, we've been enjoying this conversation. That's actually very nice. So thank you very much for engaging in the chat. So what I wanted to do today is that I want to go over the Ippon compilation that the All Japan Kendo Federation put up for the women's 60-second women's championship. And we've been watching the past two stream some matches. Now it's going to be only the Ippons, but I really like how the All Japan puts the videos together, because it's not only about the Ippon, they also give you a little bit of the time before. So we're going to be studying that a little bit and kind of coming in forward when it comes to what can we do in order for us to get an Ippon, okay? Okay, so this is something I always mention when it comes to fighting against Jodan players, is that you want to avoid raising your hands, because even though you might feel protected from the man, the kote is wide open, especially if they're good and understand how to do morote kote, because they can really get various angles as they're coming down. So it's going to be very exposed if you put those hands up there. As you can see right here, even though she didn't put the hands too high, she exposed her kote. Watch. Right here, you see, maybe she feels protected for the man, but the shina is gonna come down straight into that kote. Something you always want to keep in mind. Take care, Nick. Have a good one. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. So, this one is a very... this is the opposite side of it, right? Fighting against Jordan as well. But now she took a point. Let me see. Mike, you're saying you used to like to semi between kote and tsuki when going against Jordan. Yeah, and there's many different ways of doing this. There's many different approaches that we can take. But yeah, definitely, it's a good strategy. So Suenaga, if you guys watched the All Japan, the Women's All Japan this time, she had a killer kote against Jordan, because it was very compact, so it was very straightforward. It almost looked like she's slicing into the kote, but at the same time had a lot of power on the impact, right? And if you watch it a little bit in slow motion, so she's setting up the distance, right? One of the things that you want to do when you're trying to fight against Jordan, especially if you're going on the offensive, is that you want to try to get into an uncomfortable distance for them without them realizing that you are getting there. And she comes in, she takes a little bit of a step, a little bit of a fake step, and as she does that, watch this one. Okay, give me 1 second. As she does that, she gets a reaction from the opponent. You see, sorry, hold on. If you watch her right foot, she gets a reaction of the opponent with doing that fumikomi, and at that point her opponent starts engaging into a technique, and this is the time when she throws the kote. So again, she's not going in blindly. It's not like she's saying, I'm just gonna go now. she's doing something and then immediately going for the technique. That's another thing. You cannot be waiting between what you did to get a reaction and the reaction. You have to learn to anticipate, and you do that by doing it throughout the match and trying to figure out what type of reactions the opponent has, and start kind of developing your strategy against your opponent. This is the way where you're going to find more success rather than just attacking, because if you start doing that, then you start thinking to yourself, why am I not getting the ippon, right? I'm doing this, I've thrown every technique I know, but I'm not getting the ippon. So what's happening? If you think this way, you're gonna get frustrated very quickly. But if you start building up the strategy and figuring out where are your openings or what can you do to create those openings, is going to be a much fruitful approach if you take this way. Hope that makes sense. Let me know, guys, what you think. That's actually a very interesting topic to actually develop, I think. Okay, let me see. Somebody commented. Kevin, welcome to the stream. How to hit men button of a taller opponent without touching the men button. Ah, okay. So you mean without touching the mengane, right? Like without touching the grill. Mike, gotta head out. Nice for being here. The stream will be here if you wanna come watch a little bit later too. So yeah. Mike, let me get my shinai real quick so that way I can show a little bit of something. Maybe that'll help out, I hope. Give me 1 second. This is definitely maybe a topic I should also make a video about. That's actually very good. I'm gonna write that down. Thank you. Let me make sure I can see myself in the camera. Okay. There's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind in order to not hit the mengane, right? When you're hitting the men, you don't want to have, let me see, maybe like here. You don't want to come down on this angle, right? You want to have full extension of the shinai. And I'm sorry that in here it's so hard. Yeah, I need to make a video about this. But what you want to do is that you don't want to come down pulling the sword this way. You want the sword to rotate out of your right hand. So, you know, it kind of rotates out of the right hand and the tip comes forward and the tip will come down and hit the target rather than bringing the sword down as if it's like slicing down and pulling towards you. You want to have full extension forward and you want to aim with the tip. So the way that I visualize it, one way that Griva Sensei actually is the one that put this in my head, is that you want to put the leather, you want to put the leather to the cloth. So you want to imagine that this, you see this thing that's already blue, you want to put that on the blue part. So if you aim with that, you don't have to think about any of this stuff here. The sword is going to rotate and going to go on top of the shinai, on top of the men. But if you're coming in here and then you're pulling the sword this way towards you, it's going to hit in this angle, like this, and it's going to hit the mengane. You want to hit, you know, like you want the sword to do this, right? Pop. Does that make sense? Let me know. Discipline. Suenaga. Yeah, Yamamoto. It's so confusing, right? Footwork is based on doing Keiko with her father, who is Hachidan, that is specialized in Jodan. I don't know if I fully agree with that, you know, especially, you know, I don't know if I fully agree with that. Yes, she definitely has a lot of influence from him, but you know, she has something in her footwork that is hers, you know, like she developed a very interesting footwork throughout the years, and I like her. I like the way that she does kendo. So, you know, and I'm lucky enough to have practiced with her, to have met her, and she actually brought me into Osaka Fuke, and just watching how she practices on a regular basis, it's such an experience, because you get to see really how she puts that footwork to practice, and like it's so fluid, right? Like anyways, she has really good footwork. That's what I'm saying. Jordan, your sensei told you that look for opportunities during Jigeiko. Now you are first dan and you usually do men and kote. Can you explain how to assess an opportunity instead of blindly striking? Oh, by the way, guys, you don't have to call me sensei. Like, I don't feel I'm there, so you can just say Jose. It's fine. But thank you for showing respect. But you know, I'm here as a friend. I'm not here as an instructor, I guess. Jordan, I actually have a video about that. I mentioned it a little bit earlier about opportunities to strike, or when to strike, I think it's called. But let me say something that I'm thinking about, because I want to make another video. I want to make more videos about this, right? Because it's such an important topic. When you're fighting, when you're there, you got to think about, you get one shot, right? Before you think about the fact that you get one shot, you have to get used to attacking over and over and over and over. So for example, if you do kote and the person went back, then you can hit men. And if the person kept going back, maybe you can hit men again. And if they stop, you can do tatari, maybe you can do hiki men or hiki kote, hiki do, right? So you have to get into this feeling of you're going to attack whatever opening is there. This feeling you need to have. Now, when it comes to when to strike, there's another feeling you need to develop, which is to not be afraid. And I'm not saying that you're afraid because you're going to get hit, but maybe afraid that you're going to miss, afraid this is not the time. So you have to throw yourself in there and, you know, stepping and attack, stepping and attack, stepping and attack. 99% of those attacks, they will be deflected because your opponent is going to start catching your timing, right? But you start realizing, especially every time that you attack and you succeed, or even when you miss, you're like, this didn't work because of this. This didn't work because of that. So having your body understand that is key. Now, but the important part about this is having that feeling, kind of what we saw here. If you guys watch this, watch this. Wait, did it switch? Sorry guys, because I'm only working one monitor. Okay, I'm only working one monitor. So if you watch this, she does a fumikomi and immediately throws the technique, right? So she gets a reaction and immediately goes. It's not that she gets a reaction, waits to see, then she goes. She's anticipating what's going to happen. So you have to have the feeling that you're going to go. You have to have the feeling that you're not afraid of committing to the technique in order to take advantage of opportunities that happen. Because if you wait for the opportunity to show, it's too late. So always try to get a reaction and be on the habit of, I'm going to go. So you have to practice what type of reactions can you get depending on your actions. And then you have to let your body naturally respond. But if you're coming in, you try to get a reaction and then you wait, then that opportunity will be gone. So that being said, you have to really get into that feeling of you're gonna come in and hit. And to finally, I guess, to give you a little bit of I think on assessing the information, assessing the opponent, fight from farther away, right? Even when you start fighting here, if you engage, and I actually made a video about that just recently, you want to step in, and then maybe here you get a reaction, right? But maybe here is too far for you to attack, but you already know that this speed or this motion got a reaction. So guess what? You do that, you get a reaction, and you can do it again and attack. Or you can maybe do it again, briefly stop and attack. And you start understanding, because sometimes maybe the person's going to freeze. Sometimes the person's going to start blocking. And that wasn't the point to attack. But then they start relaxing. Maybe this is the point to attack. So it has to be with experience. It has to be with experimenting. But you always want to use your body, your distance, and your soar in order to, and even your ki, in order to see what reactions you get and then respond to these reactions. I feel like I'm going around. I'm repeating a lot of things that I'm saying. So yeah, I hope you guys got the point. Please ask the question so I can answer more directly, because I feel like now I'm going in circles on the same topic. Richie, I just saw that you asking if I understand Spanish. Sí, yo hablo español. Soy de Venezuela y es mi lengua materna. So, si la pierdo, yo creo que mi mamá me mata. It's just that you don't know some words in English and it will be easier for you to ask in Spanish. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Y si necesitas también te puedo responder en español, y generalmente lo que hago es que hablo en español y en inglés. So, Jordan, you appreciate it? No, you did join midway, so apologize. No. Listen, like, this is a friendly meeting, guys. This is supposed to be a way for us to discuss Kendo and try to build our Kendo. So, like, there's no compromise here. You guys can come in and out anytime you want. All I will ask is maybe hit that like button, right? Just hit the like button. And if anybody would like to be part of the Discord server, let me just put it again out there. Guys, I'm sorry, I live close to a fire station, so there's like ambulances and things going around, so if that's passing by, I'm sorry. So if anybody would like to be part of the Discord server and, get to meet some new Kendo people, it's free, so you can pass by there. Let's get going. Okay. Oh, so look what's happening here, and this is what I'm saying about you have to go for every opportunity that's there, right? You have to have that feeling that you're gonna keep attacking regardless. So look at Red, Suenaga or Yamamoto. Look what she does. She goes for that kote, sees the opportunity, goes for that kote again, for the other kote, and she's still engaged. She's still going, right? She hasn't broken the engagement, and she went for that ippon. Okay, sorry, my microphone is moving because my dog is just going. Mori, no, hey, okay. Sorry, guys. So, if you watch here, look how compact she throws that kote, right? Maybe she didn't hit it. Maybe no, she did, but the frame rate is what. This is very risky, right? But she does this very well. Very good kote. Yeah. So you see, it's about creating a reaction, not just going blindly. So every time, a lot of the times when she's attacking, she does something right before in order to try to create an opening and also to change the timing, right? Because a lot of times when the person is coming in, it's easier to figure out, he or she is coming in this way. So I can just gauge it and then maybe move a little bit and then, counter. But the way that she's approaching, she does something and then attacks, it changes the timing, because not only she's doing something in between, but she can actually take longer or less time in order to attack after this action. So if you watch it, look at little Fumikomi she does. You see? And it's almost like pop, pop, right? Like pop, pop. And I kind of, there's this idea that I've been having that I want to make a video called The Rhythm of Kendo. And if you hear, she does Fumikomi 2 times, like pop, pop, right? But the second one is not pop, pop, it's like pop, pop. So it's a little bit quicker. Like, listen to that. Right? Like pop, 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 pop. It's such an interesting concept, I think. I would like to make a video about the rhythm of Kendo. But you can play with rhythm in order to execute a technique, to confuse the opponent, or to just delay your attack or make it a little bit faster depending on the reaction that you get from the opponent. So this is something that I've been listening to lately. So let me know what you think. Let me know if it's something that you find interesting and maybe something I should make a video about. I got some comments. Richie, you said that escribir en español. Okay, sí, no hay problema. Kevin, so you can throw yourself forward like that and put leather to the blue fabric. What do you mean about throwing yourself forward like that? Like, I just want to make sure. Oh, Galaxy, you say good morning, Ohio. Let me see. Those kanjis are too small for me to read. Actually, I don't know those kanji, so I'm sorry. I'm still starting Japanese, okay? I'm learning. I'll read them later. But thank you very much for passing by. Please say hello to Register Sensei. I hope he comes to Japan sometime soon. Kevin, say like Fumikomi with everything like that. Yes, when you go into Fumikomi, there's this concept, and as a matter of fact, Kenshi 24/7 has a really good blog about it. Sorry, I just read your comment, and I think that's hilarious. The rhythm of Kendo sounds like a new Enrique Iglesias album. That's yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it threw me off with that one. Nice curveball. Okay. What was I saying? Sorry. Oh, okay. So Kenshi 24/7 has a very nice blog about Sanshin, and he mentions Sutemi in there. So I recommend you to go read it. And in Sutemi is this concept of throwing everything, right? Like throwing your life into the technique. Yes, you have to throw everything. As a matter of fact, every time you attack, it should be like that. I always say that Kendo is not about doing hard Kendo all the time. It's about understanding when is the time to put everything. And every other time, you should be relaxed. Should be tension on your body only in very specific places. But your kamae, for example, your kamae should be very comfortable. And having the ability to understand at what point and then putting everything into it is a skill that takes a lot of time to develop. That being said, you also have to be mindful of properly doing this, of correctly throwing your body into it, because you want to be in a good position to attack again if you miss. Meaning that if you throw yourself in there and you are out of shape, if your body is one place, your hands are one place and your legs another place, this is going to sacrifice your ability to go forward again. So this is the only limitation, I guess I'm going to say, that you should have, right? That when you throw your body, you have to throw it properly, so that way, if you miss, you have another opportunity. I think a lot of times we put a lot of emphasis on why we should have proper technique. And a lot of times people say, oh, that wasn't a nippon because, it didn't look like this, it didn't do that. But ultimately, I don't think the focus should be on how we look, but about the functionality of our body, on how it's working to achieve the goal that we're trying to do. And yeah, fortunately, that looks a lot like, beautiful Kendo looks a lot like correct Kendo, but you don't need beautiful Kendo in order to score nippon, for example. That's what I'm trying to say. Hope that makes sense. Sometimes I talk a lot. And by sometimes, I mean a lot of times. So this is a advice that I got this week. Last week from one of the senseis that I'm practicing. He's a Hachidan, right? And he said, when you're in Jigeiko, always try to keep in mind going for the I-man, right? And this is how I understand it. If you watch Red right now, White is going to approach her with a feint, and she immediately goes in for that man. Look. So what I understood with that advice is that you want to always have in mind that you're going to attack, that you're going to go forward, instead of being scared or being, passive or defensive when your opponent tries to scare you. And having this mentality, I think, is going to open more doors, and it's going to give you more opportunities. It's going to make you able to take more opportunities than take them away, right? So because you want to avoid being backwards, because this way, then for sure, you can give an opening and then your opponent can score. Again, hope that makes sense. And still, this is a concept that I'm studying, so take it with a grain of salt. Hikiwasa. Oh, okay. So this is something that I am practicing myself as well, something that I want to improve on. Hikiwasa, not necessarily the hikiwasa, but the positioning of my body in Subasari, so hikiwasa comes out naturally. So there was taratari, right? Oh, sorry, let me just go back a little bit. There was connection here, there's taratari, and again, with the new rules and how things are going right now, there's this confusion that, oh, you shouldn't do hikiwasa. You should do hikiwasa, but you shouldn't drag out the Subasari. And I think this was a great execution, because for me, being in Subasari, it's a lot like being Kamae. You have to show, again, some level of relaxation. And at the same time, you have to be engaged, right? So there's a little bit of relaxation, making space, sees the opportunity, takes the point. I wonder why this judge didn't think that it was an ippon though. Let's see. He had good contact, right? Yeah, had good contact, good distance. Yeah, I wonder what this judge didn't agree with that point. Actually, it looked like he was going to raise the flag, but if you watch, it looked like he was going to raise the flag. Right? But then put it back down. So I wonder. This is the type of questions that I ask myself. What do you think? Was that an ippon or no? Okay. John, welcome to the stream. Let me just catch up with some of these comments. You were kind of a long time ago. It was kind of a long time ago, but you got into an argument with a sensei from other dojo because he kept giving unwanted lessons. It was a BS lesson too. You are third dan now, but you're still trying to figure out how to repel unwanted attention from a sensei from another dojo. You say hi, and then walk away. Like, don't let it bother you. Like that happens a lot. And a lot of times, yeah. Like, unfortunately, especially when you're going up in rank, right? Like, this is something that you're going to find, because I think people always want to talk. I'm always very hesitant on giving advice unless I'm asked. And funny enough, I was in a college practice this week, and everybody was coming in, like, asking for advice and giving advice, right? And this is their culture. Right? So in this case, they always try to do it as in, this is what I think is happening, right? That being said, you also have to be careful, because maybe sometimes people are trying to give you advice, and maybe the words that are saying are not the correct words, but they are saying it for a reason, right? So I don't know, like I'm very patient. I think I'm a very patient person. So I just say hi. I listen to it. I go and I'm like, think about it for a minute. Be like, where's the truth behind these words? And then maybe the way or the solution that they think is the correct one is not the right one. And maybe sometimes the advice is just completely, because you gotta remember, sometimes we say things based on what we're working on personally too, right? Because it's the things that we're looking at the most. So a lot of times it might be that, he's struggling with something, he's trying to figure it out, and, he found something in you that he can relate to and try to give you advice, but obviously because he hasn't solved it, it doesn't really work. So anyways, Kendo's about friendship. So just be nice, that's the best I can say. Except when you're fighting, right? When you're fighting, you give everything, right? You fight. That's it. Sometimes you find arrogance. I just don't practice with these people. That's it. Or I just avoid talking to these people. I say thank you for the practice and then just walk away. Yeah. Richie, how do you know when to throw and pass to your opponent and when not to move at all when you connect men or kote? What do you mean? What do you mean pass? What do you mean pass? Like when to go through? When to go through and when to do taratari? Is that your question? let me know. John, can you talk about taboo in Tokyo Kendo scene? This is favoritism. What do you mean about taboo? Because I had some funny experiences in Tokyo. I have a couple of friends in Tokyo that I haven't talked to in a while, so I need to reach out to them. And I have one good friend that I do talk to often from Tokyo. But tell me. Okay, Richie, you're saying when should you suba seriai and when should you pass through? So ideally, you always want to pass through. And if you do suba seriai, if you do tayatari, it's because your opponent was in the way. And you want to do tayatari sharply. So you don't want to stop before you do the tayatari. You want to come in, crash in, and then and then be ready immediately, right? You don't want to kind of like slow down and then kind of connect. No. You want to come in as if you're going through. The opponent got in the way, okay, you crash, but then you're ready immediately. So there's no when you shouldn't. So if the opponent's getting out of the way, go through, turn around sharply, and be ready for another technique. If it doesn't come through, you're trying to crash into the opponent, and then at that point, you want to go and assess where's my opening, and boom, you take it. Does that make sense? Yeah, there's no normally, for example, for me, for kote, I go into tayatari on kihon, right? But if it's jigeiko, I am trying, not that it always works, I am trying to, every time that I'm going for kote, I'm thinking, can I also go for men, right? And if I go for men, I can go through and pass out, and pass through, not pass out, hopefully not passing out. Let me know if that works. Guys, I'm seeing a lot of new names here. I'm very happy for that, very thankful, very grateful. So please, if you haven't, hit the like button. And I want to remind everybody that we have a Discord server that you can pass by, meet new Kendo people, you can message me there. And if you would like to send me some videos and stuff like that for me to review and you know, have a conversation about your Kendo. Wait, hold on, let me make sure that the Discord, why the Discord, it didn't show up. Did I misspell Discord? One second, guys. Okay, let's see if it comes out this way. But yeah, you can also become a member of the channel if there's something that you would like me to review your videos and, you know, have a conversation about your Kendo. There's also going to be a couple of extra perks out there that you can take benefits on. And I will, if it doesn't show up, I will also put the link for the Discord and the memberships too. 1 second. So did it come out? It didn't come out. Okay, so here's the membership. Here's the member. I'm just gonna pin it, and let me just put the Discord. Invite people. Okay. Okay, this link is going to be for 7 days. So if you're clicking the link that I'm just putting out there, just remember that this link is only for 7 days. Mateo, you said your local Kendo club doesn't have enough members. We all met last week. There was going to be 3 students and a 4th dan instructor. Now there's 2 students have opted to not go forward with Kendo. What to do? So unfortunately, this is the reality for a lot of dojos outside of Japan. So the best thing you can do, you know, it's especially when you have new members, is to help them learn good kirikaeshi, right? And uchikomi, right? Why? Because when you can do presentations and things like this, these are very high energy drills that are easy to do. And then this way, you know, you can give a little bit of a better vibe to people to get them excited to come in. Because a lot of times, you know, especially with new students, they do a man and they get lazy and they're like, it just doesn't look good, I think. So if you can work in good kirikaeshi and good uchikomi, not only you're going to develop good kendo, in my opinion, but also you have something that is going to be easy enough to do, but also high intensity or high energy that is going to get people excited coming in. If you have the ability to bring in kids, maybe 2 or 3 kids, that thing that also helps out for the future of the dojo, but it's not something that's going to be comfortable for you to practice for your own practice. But it takes a lot of time, dedication. If you want to reach out on the Discord server, like reach out to me. I can give you some of the tips and things that I learned while running dojos and stuff like that when I was in US. So I'll be willing to share that, and maybe I should make a list about that and share it with everybody. John, you're saying you're wondering if John is talking about if there's a favoritism of Keisho and certain individuals in Keisho. Okay, let's see. Richie, you said thank you. Nailed it. Awesome. Thank you very much. How are you traveling? Okay, wait. I skipped a comment. There's favoritism of a certain player in Tokyo, and I always hear people complain about it. I thought judging is really fair, but hearing about it, you don't know anymore. So in psychology, and I'll say this. Okay, hold on. You have another comment that maybe. Also, how are you still traveling to Japan for Kendo? These tickets prices are getting more expensive as we speak. I know, man. I know. And I want to. Well, the reason is I'm traveling here. I'm here with a student visa. So if anybody wants my story on that, maybe I can talk about it in a stream. We can make a stream about traveling to Japan or whatever. But yeah, so I'm here, I'm staying here. So yeah, that's my secret, right? So I'm lucky enough to have a job that I can work remotely from US, and I'm here for the visa, but I'm here mostly to do Kendo, right? I also want to learn Japanese, so that's why I'm here too. About the favoritism, so in psychology we have something called the halo effect, and it's funny because I mentioned it in the stream that I was doing with Blake. And he knew exactly what I meant. So maybe it wasn't good that we couldn't explain it very well. Because the halo effect is when there is kind of like this feeling, this positive feeling towards somebody, right? And it's kind of something that can happen in our brains that is kind of like, there's nothing wrong this person can do. This person's an angel, right? Like a halo. So this person is the best. And whatever they do, they're good. And I think I witnessed this with Eiga Sensei. There was a tournament where I attended that a long time ago, and I actually posted a video about that long time ago, that he got a point that wasn't a point. Like he completely didn't make contact. And the reason why I found out was because I was watching it and I was like, it didn't look like a point. I was recording it and it kind of looked like a point, or it looked like a point in the camera, but my friend was recording from top of the chairs, a different angle, and you can see that the sword was completely off. So but the judges immediately, the 3 of them, they lift the flag. And I don't think this is necessarily all favoritism. I don't think it's favoritism. It's just something that sometimes we have to fight against this nature. I think that judging is fair, but at the same time, we are people, right? So we try to be fair, and I think, especially for shimpanning, I don't know if you've ever done shimpanning, but there's a lot of pressure. And while you're shimpanning, you have to be very, very, very careful too, because a lot of times, even if you're not the one fighting, if you feel that you made a mistake, sometimes your brain starts like, did I make a mistake there? Should I raise my flag there? Should I just waved off? Should I said something? And then this thinking stops you from watching what's happening at the moment, right? So you have to be very mindful, very careful with that. John, it's hard to get new students to stick outside of Japan. Believe me, even in Japan, they're having some struggles now. Okay, Japan, like Kendo here in Japan is very different than when I was here last time 5 years ago. It's a lot of things that are very different. And at the beginning, it was, I think, the COVID thing. And I think the COVID thing definitely influenced, but there's a lot of, like, I'm getting ready to talk about that at some point in the future. John, you're saying it's hard to get new students to stick outside of Japan. Kendo takes really long time to get good at. the process can be boring for many. It is, and every time when I get a new student, I ask them a couple of questions. One of them is, what brought you to Kendo, right? And they'll say, oh, I watched this anime, whatever, I like Japanese culture and stuff like that. And okay, cool. So I get a feeling of what type of things can I say, what kind of type of things can I do to keep them engaged. This is one. Number two, what are you hoping to get from Kendo, right? And once they start saying like, oh, I want to be able to fight and stuff like that, I let them know, listen, Kendo is very fun once you put your bogu and you start fighting. But I want you to feel that you can do it, because if I give you a bogu today and we start going at it, you're going to get overwhelmed between everything that you have on you and the experience that I have. It's going to be very hard for you. So I don't want you to be frustrated. You need to do a lot of basics. And what I do when I'm explaining to these specific students is that I am trying to relate. I always have them at the end to be engaged. I always have them watch the fight and maybe do like Samon Shabu or Ippon Shabu and have them be the judge, right? Not necessarily as official Shimpan that they're going to set the point, but kind of be the judge and say, oh, raise your hand if you think this person had a point, and then use this to tell them, oh, okay, so you see what we're practicing at this point is so this doesn't happen. Or tell them, oh, this wasn't a point because of this was a point because of this. And just to keep them more engaged. I think that when you keep, and this is something I learned from my field of work, right? When you keep people talking, engaged, and just speaking about this, their brain starts processing it, but also they kind of create more of a connection. So I think that the biggest enemy in Kendo to recruitment is that, talking in the dojo is not necessarily a good thing. And it's not a good thing when you're doing the training, but I always try to find a little bit of time, a little bit of space to allow them to do this while I'm there so they can kind of create this bond with Kendo. That's my strategy. That's my secret. Hope you guys enjoy that. John, just gonna drop the name. It's Takenouchi. Yeah, I mean, like, and again, it could be Takenouchi is, I think he was one of the youngest one that he won the All Japan when he won it the first time and so on. But yeah, I need to be honest, I haven't really kept up with this type of news, I guess. And so I don't know specifically what's something that you are talking about, but if you could send me some videos or maybe message me on the Discord server just so we can talk a little bit more, and I'll try to ask my friends over there, kind of tell me a little bit about what's going on there. John, you're saying definitely Demon Slayer doing the hard carrying for getting kids into Kendo. To be honest, yeah, totally. And there's a lot of things that you can use. I think the first episode when he's training, that he does the 1,000 suburi, and even the whole thing about breathing and ki, you can connect all these things, and this is what I like to do. I like to connect things, so just to keep it more engaged. And somebody subscribe, I think. Let me. I couldn't see the notification. Okay, we have a new subscriber, and my bot is not letting me know who it was, but thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate you being here. If you're in the stream. Oh, okay. Ooh, that was such a nice exchange from both players. Watch how Red goes around the Shinai and uses both hands to get into that steep angle. Very nice, very nice. But what I can really appreciate is the fact that White immediately had the instinct to go in for a technique. This is very important to always keep in mind. Don't be defeated even when you got hit, right? You want to have that instinct if you're going forward, because a lot of times you didn't get hit. And if you have an opportunity, great thing to take advantage of. Oh. So a lot of times when you are resetting, it's a big point where you can get hit. So you have to be mindful and be careful with that. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm gonna say a lot of times going for do against a Jordan player is a bad idea, because you think that because the do is visible right there, you can get that ippon. It's tricky because they're also ready to bring that sword down on you. That being said, I guess in this case there was a little bit of a flip situation where the Jordan player went for a do, and the Chudan player raised her hands and was right there to take that point. Very cool, very cool. Let's watch one more ippon, guys, and I'll catch up with the comments. Oh, okay. So I was talking earlier about having the intention to keep going if there is an opening, to not stop after a technique. So watch this. She saw an opening, she took it, then the opponent gave her another opening, so she took it after that. And then she didn't feel that it was the proper strike, so she went again and she actually got an ippon. But if we have the mentality of, I'm going to attack and stop, then we don't get these doors. Then we cannot take advantage of these opportunities. I classify openings, I think about openings in Kendo in two ways. One, the ones that my opponent gives me because they make a mistake. So whether they took a step when they shouldn't have, they went back and lowered their swords. This maybe is nothing that I did specifically to get that reaction, but it's something that my opponent did without me necessarily being involved in this action. The other classification I have is what's it called? The openings that my opponent gives me because of what I do. So for both, you have to be ready and even anticipate when this opening will be there, so that way you can take advantage when they happen. Because again, if you wait for the opening to show up to then engage in your technique, you will be there too late. So you always have to do it a little bit before the opening shows up. You have to learn to anticipate, and for that you need to just practice and understand what behaviors and what patterns people have, and try to understand what you can do depending on what they do. Hope that makes sense, because this is, I think, very important skill to pick up and something that's very hard to put naturally in your Kendo. Okay, so let me catch up with some of those comments. Rich, you said you started Kendo 8 months ago, and the truth is that you started out of desperation. University was slowly killing you, and you needed something to get rid of all your problems. So I'm sorry to hear that, and definitely Kendo was and still is a big, escape and motivation for me to kind of like drive through in my life. You like Kendo as a sport, and you also really like the friendship of your classmates in the dojo. And that's one good thing that I think about Kendo. And another good thing is that Kendo is one, right? So wherever you go, Kendo is one in the sense of, we are ruled by one federation. We have a connection. All of us have a big connection. So whatever country you go, you can contact a dojo, and most likely, most of the times, they'll be like, yeah, come on over. And then after that, you're probably gonna go out for dinner or something, and and get to know people from the place. So for me, it has been key for my travels. So I always bring my bogu when I go everywhere. John, you don't think there's too much to talk about? You don't often hear wild accusations from Japanese guys in Kendo, but apparently Takenouchi just can be scored on in all Japan qualifier matches. Yeah, but he never gets far though in All Japan, right? Like he hasn't gone far lately. That's what I'm saying. He won it once, but I think it's I don't know. I'll do my research. I'll talk to my peeps. Don't worry. We'll talk about it later. Message me in Discord. Yeah, that'll be cool. I'll keep you updated when I find out. Oh, nice launch. Okay, this wasn't an ippon, but look at this launch from white. So she engages the back foot, starts pushing, and at the very end, she pushes extra, right? To get that extra extension. Again, her footwork. Oh, sorry guys. John, thank you for, I was testing you guys. I was testing to make sure that you guys are there, paying attention, right? I'm just kidding, but my bad. Okay. Pretend I didn't say anything. Watch this. So, wasn't an ippon, right? But great launch, great control. She pushes into the technique, and the fumikomi. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. So the fumikomi lands under her body, right? This is something that I talked about on my last video. You don't want to throw your fumikomi ahead of you and land with the fumikomi forward. You want it to serve as a transition step, so it's landing under her body to help her get straight and have power on her follow through. Very smooth footwork, keeps the engagement, and then comes back into kamae. Now, I would have preferred if she actually went backwards a little bit further. But she's ready, she's engaged. At this point, I feel that red has the advantage. The reason for that is because, and wait, hold on, let me make sure that my screen can share. Okay, the reason why I think red has the advantage here is because red's hands are closer to her body. So even after she starts pushing with the body, the hands can give a little bit of extra extension, where white kind of lost that advantage. And now it's a little bit too late because red started the engagement. So I wonder who's gonna get the ippon here, and I'm gonna guess it's red. Oh, there's no ippon actually. So that being said, at this point, when the hands are back, she has a little bit more control over the sword, and she also has more. She's gonna have more speed at the end of the swing and a little bit more explosivity. But it was an ippon. Nice engagement. Nice engagement. Richie, you said you practice Kendo in your university dojo. It suits you very well, and the times or refresh. The oris. Sorry, I don't know that word. To refresh yourself after your 7-hour study on campus. Okay, so it's, yeah, I understand that. I started a Kendo club in college, so that definitely served the same purpose. John, you said you want to do Kendo in Japan. If you do, let me know and come over. You know, I can probably help you find some practices over here. I can help you find some practices. But you always just watch and visit friends. Traveling with girlfriend means no Kendo, sadly. I mean, come on, you have to take some time for yourself, right? Like, this is gonna energize you to like be with your girlfriend more. She can understand that, right? And you know, maybe she can pass by and watch Kendo too. Maybe she's not gonna like that anyways. So we can do is that we can find a plan of something that she can do, like maybe like find her like, you know, like what's it called, skincare treatment or hair treatment or something like that, and then we'll escape to a dojo. How about that? That works. I should start. That should be my business, right? Like, have like a Kendo vacation with vacation for spouses. So just have something next to a dojo, like you know, like a salon or something like that, or have a dojo like next to like some tourist attractions. We go into the dojo, then you can meet up again, right? That would be a cool concept. Quick side note, and this is a funny thing. If somebody makes this, please, make me a partner of this business. But I think it would be cool to have a dojo, and then in the front of the dojo, a small like little izakaya style, or maybe like a sushi bar or something like that, where like they serve beers and things like this, and like little foods. But on it, the bar is going to be facing towards the dojo, so obviously it's going to be completely closed, and there's going to be like a transparent wall, like a glass or something like this, soundproof, of course, so you can watch the practice as you're sitting in this bar. The reason for that is because, if you have kids, you can bring the kids to the dojo, and then you can sit in the bar and, like just eat or whatever. And at the same time you're watching the practice, you're watching your kid. So the kid can feel too that, oh, he's there or whatever. But at the same time, you're like, oh, drinking and eating, whatever. So I think it will be such a cool concept. And it will be a cool place to go after the practice, right? So you can go and join everybody. It's like, oh, let's just have beers right here at the dojo. So, and of course, it's gonna be like special price for the members. In the membership, you have like maybe like a beer a day or something like this. I don't know. So if you're thinking about making this restaurant, let me know that. You don't need to steal it, bro. Like, you just need to tell me, and we'll make them together. Come on, dude. Come on. Count me in. Like, count me in. Anyways, this time I'm not gonna forget to share the screen. Guys, thank you very much for being here and making this stream fun, by the way. Okay, this is something. Watch Red. Watch what's happening with Red. So it was a nippon, I know, but the fact that she was able to move forward and be able to move the shinai so sharply and even throw a technique and be so composed immediately after, this is something that I want for my kendo. I don't have that, and the reason why I feel I don't have that is because when I take the steps that are too short, I feel that they're too tense. And normally I don't take these short steps. Normally I take a little bit longer steps. So I feel that the thing that I want to integrate now in my kendo, it's smaller, more relaxed steps, so I can have the ability to control my body and my sword much more this way, right? So I'm still working on that. I'll give you guys a plan when I have it. But this is something that, as a matter of fact, one of the dojos where I practice, this floor is very slippery, very, very, very slippery. And it's very hard to move. Even being in Kamae is very hard. Shudokan too, like the Osaka Castle dojo, the dojo in Osaka Castle, the floor is like this too. Butokuden too in Kyoto, especially during the Enbutai Kai, depending on the weather, the floor can be very, very slippery. And this floor is interesting because if you watch people that know how to handle this floor, it looks like they move like the floor, it's it's perfect, it's like glue or whatever, but once you stand there, it's a whole different story. So I don't know why I started talking about that. Sorry. Oh, this ippon was brought to you by, again, her willingness to go forward rather than being defensive. Watch white. Right? So red, both of them, they try to give some pressure, right? White gives pressure, red returns the pressure, and instead of being defensive, instead of going backwards, she kind of pushes the shinai out of the way and immediately keeps the tip going forward and is able to get that sharp man in such a small amount of time and with such a little space, right? Because she had the intention of going forward rather than being defensive and going backwards. Hope that makes sense. And something that I think this is something that we should all try to put in our kendo. The mindset of always going for a technique. Oh. Lucas, thank you for passing by. Give me a second. I'll answer. I will read your message in a second. So, this is actually something that normally people will say, "Oh, this wasn't a man," right? What do you guys think? Let me read Lucas' comment while you guys do that. If you haven't, guys, please hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you'd like to be a member of the stream, the pinned comment is the link for that. And also, if you'd like to be part of the Discord server, I just put the link on the chat again. Lucas, you said, what's the best way to hit Gyakudo without getting hit in the men? Get them to react. I think this is the theme for today's stream, is get them to react, get them to be defensive. So you do Gyakudo against somebody that is scared, right? If they are coming forward, maybe they will raise the hands slightly, but then immediately coming in. So this is one thing to get them to react. The other thing has to be your sanshin, right? Depending on the opponent you have, depending on the situation, the sanshin might not be appropriate to go backwards, right? It might be appropriate to go forward. So you're gonna do Gyakudo and then close the distance as if you did Kote, right? As a matter of fact, for some time before coming to Japan, I haven't been able to do it here, but I haven't thought about doing this, but maybe I should try to do it during some practices, where you do Gyakudo and then you try to come in for a Tatari. Like you come in Gyakudo, maybe you miss the Gyakudo, you come in for a Tatari, and then you kind of bounce off. After the Gyakudo, you kind of come in for a Tatari and you bounce off a little bit of an angle with a Hikimen. This combination I really like doing, but I haven't tried that in a minute. Yeah, I'll try it this week. I'll keep it in mind to try to do that, because you want to have the ability to take advantage of every opportunity, and Gyakudo can leave you with a little bit of a like a vulnerability. But when you do Gyakudo and even your opponent, you make contact, but it wasn't an ippon, right? And they're like, oh, I almost got hit in the door, I have to keep my hands here. So I think that's why normally going immediately for a Hikimen, it can work often, because they're so concerned about, I almost got hit here. Oh, hope that makes sense. So you're saying when people go in for Gyakudo, they tend to hide their men. Is that okay? So again, we go back to what I said earlier. Maybe you weren't here. I'm sorry for that. But it's not about necessarily how it looks, right? It's about the functionality of things. You are fighting. So is hiding the men appropriate? It might not look appropriate. It might not look correct. It depends how it's done. So I cannot give you a black or white yes or no right now. But if you're trying to move away from the opponent and understanding that the opponent is there, it shows awareness, right? So this is part of sanshin, in the sense of, if the person hides the men because they're gonna turn their head, allowing the person to hit the back of their head, this is not okay, right? This is not okay. But like hiding their men, like as in like I'm getting away, I'm moving away. I'll say yes. Lucas, you say Hikimen is hard for chimpanzees to count. You feel like they hardly call it. I used to think a lot like that when you go to tournaments and for different techniques. But I think my words of inspiration are that I think if a good player comes and does them, they will give it to them, right? There's no denying it. So maybe it's not about it's hard for them to count it, but are you doing a really good Hikimen, right? Because I can tell you, I don't, right? I have my moments where I'll do like a good hikimen, a good hikikote, whatever. But am I doing really good consistently? Like, am I doing it good consistently, especially after doing a technique like Yakudo, right? Like having my body correctly, my right distance and things like that. So I don't know. And yes, of course, Shimpans, they need to educate themselves too and understand how to do better as well for Shimpaning. So I understand both sides. I understand that. But don't get discouraged. If you feel that there's an opportunity there, don't throw a technique just because you don't think the Shimpan's not going to call it, because at the best case scenario, at the worst case scenario, at least you are able to get out without getting hit, right? Hope that makes sense. Okay, guys, let's watch one more ippon. I thought we were going to be able to go through all these ippons, but I guess we were talking a lot, which is fun. I like it. Sorry. I guess nobody mentioned this. If you guys thought, what are your ideas? What are your thoughts about if this is an ippon or not, about hitting the mengane here? So in this case, it is an ippon, and the reason for that, I think in the rulebook too, it says it, right? Like when the person is tilting their head backwards, this can be counted as ippon. It could also be that the judges, didn't see it properly, and they think that they, maybe it looked better or whatever. But especially the judges gave it as an ippon, right? So see, the 3 judges gave that as an ippon, so it's a consensus on that. We should learn from this opportunity, from this experience. You guys see what happened there? You guys see how she did that? Let me catch up with this last comments. We're gonna study this last ippon. This is very interesting. So guys, give me 1 second. Lucas, you're saying when people go in for Gyakudo, they tend to hide their okay, no, I read that. Hikimen is hard. Okay, Richie, where would you recommend you buy your first complete Bogu set? Yeah, this is a very interesting topic, guys. First of all, I'm gonna ask you in what country you are, because this is a big point. I know All Japan Budogu has gained a lot of popularity, but I had a really bad experience with All Japan Budogu. I had a really bad experience, and I didn't buy anything from All Japan Budogu. The only reason why I started looking at All Japan Budogu stuff again is because my friend Nathan, he founded California Budogu, which is an off branch, pretty much is an off branch from All Japan Budogu. This is the only reason why I started looking again, but I haven't gotten anything from them. So I cannot say this is the place to get it. I will say be mindful, because him and then also Tomas Miranda, he lives in Japan here and he started his own Bogu shop. I don't know if he's doing the same thing as, I don't think he's doing the same thing as Nathan. I think he's doing his own thing, and I trust them because I know them, I know their character of people, so I know they wouldn't be selling something that is bad. But I have to say this, the Bogu that is made here in Japan with the purpose of serving Japanese Kendo has a big difference. And I think the big difference is this, that it is meant to be accessible, right? So it doesn't hold up to the usage and to the treatment that it gets in Western countries, for example, especially for South America. And I don't want to like ramble a lot about this, but I was talking to Andy about this, Andy Fisher, and because when I got the Bogu from him, I noticed that there are a couple of things that he does to ensure durability over comfort, right? And a lot of times I see that a lot of the bogus here are very comfortable. They're very nice to wear. They're, especially for the summer here, they do so many things that it makes it very comfortable. But they have the accessibility to go repair the bogu here, to go get a new bogu here, and like it's much easier to take care of these things here. And again, this is opinion, guys. That being said, I'm going to say, for me right now, one of the best places to get bogu abroad is going to be Kendo Star, because a lot of the things they make it where it's meant to last. It's not going to be the most comfortable bogu. I think I mentioned that when I got the Myrmidon set, that my palms felt very tight, right? And the leather, even though it's wide deer leather, I felt even it was a little bit thicker than the other wide deer leather coats that I have, and I felt that it was a lot more sturdier. It's a little bit heavier than some of my other cote, but it's a thing because of the materials they're using. That being said, also the other one, but I haven't really bought too many things from them. It's Ibogu, and just because I know Arika Sensei and I know that everything that he sells, he uses, right? And he uses it a lot, and his son uses it a lot. So I know a lot of stuff. They get a lot of good wear. That being said, if you buy anything from Kendo Star, there's a discount code. You can use the code Kendo Tips, and you get, I think it's a 10% off. And in California Budogu, if you do Kendo Tips 10, I think it is, you get 10% off on any purchase over 200. I don't make any money out of that. It's just something that I worked out with them for the viewers, and I think I have the code also on the Discord server. So if you want to get that, do that. But I wouldn't buy from Tosando, for example. I think it's just because it's a little bit overpriced, and you can get kind of the same quality from other vendors as well. So yeah, that's let me know. We can talk about this for longer. Ricky, you sense it. Tosando is the best place, but you don't know. You want to have a second opinion. Yeah, I mean, like, Tosando is good, but Tosando, I think, is overpriced, especially when you see the prices here, right? Like when you see the prices of because they always say, oh, free shipping, but no, they charge a little bit more in order to do the free shipping. But Kendo Star, for example, not only does free shipping, but also helps you work with the customs. So a lot of times they also cover the customs, the import fees as well. So that's one thing that I like from Andy, that I haven't seen anybody else match up. So, but also keep asking. Don't take my word for it, please. Right? Lily, you said you're set from Sen Nihon, and guys, thank you for actually contributing to this conversation, because this is one of the big reasons why I wanted to have the channel, right? For us to like avoid making mistakes that we'll regret and spending money that we don't need to spend and all this stuff. So, Lily, you're saying that your set from Sen Nihon Budogo is your only set, and it's really great but expensive. You had to buy a custom set due to your size, and it costs about $1,200 total, which is not bad. And did you get let me just ask, did you get like a competitive set, or you get like a regular practice set? Like you get like a Jisengata, or you get something that's a little bit more sturdier and stuff like that? You said your current beginners are getting their bogu from Eiko Budogu. However, it has been hard ordering because they don't specialized shipping overseas, but we just got a big discount due to the connections. And that's another thing that I always keep in mind when buying bogu for abroad, right? What's going to make it easier? And by the way, with Andy, I had a great experience with the shipping. And as a matter of fact, he should be sending me another bogu soon that I'll do a review. So, Richie said, currently your sensei is letting you one for his classes, but you would like to have your own competitions at school and outside of school. So if you want to buy, my suggestion, buy a bogu that is protective, especially if you're beginning. In any size, you want a bogu that's protective. But if you want to do something extra, if you want to have, let's say, an edge for competition and stuff like that, buy kotes that are better for shiai, right? And I think that having 2 pairs of kote for practice and maybe 1 pair that you can use for shiai, it's the way to go. It will make your kotes last much longer. Yeah. So Lily, you said Tosando custom fees when you order were huge, but it was bulk, about 1,700 into Australia. Yeah, Tosando, that's for me, that's what it is. It's just the quality is not bad. As a matter of fact, guys, I don't think anybody in Japan is making bogu to be bad, but you have to keep in mind the market, right? Like what purpose is this bogu being made for? And if you watch the stream that I did with Andy, he talked a lot about that. And this is something that I noticed too from years ago, because Kendo here is practiced differently, right? A lot of times people, like for high school and stuff like this, they practice constantly. So the bogu gets damaged pretty quick. So, but at the same time, going to repair, I'll show you guys, give me 1 second. I never used the be right back scene, so let me use that for a second. I'll be right back though. Like, I'm not going far. I'm just gonna get my dough. Okay, I'm back. Okay, good. So, just to give you a little understanding of what I mean is that, for example, when I first got here, I brought this man, and this man, if you guys know, there's 2 pieces of leather that hold the man down here, and they're tied underneath, right? So this man is like 6 years old, 7 years old, like maybe 8. It broke. Those 2 leather pieces broke. So I went to ask them to fix it, and they told me, oh, we can put zip ties here and just call it a day, or we can replace the leather. And I didn't understand because my Japanese was much worse than it is now. And I told them, like, yeah, don't do the zip ties. Can you please fix it? So they fixed the whole leather. They changed the whole leather, and they re-lacquer the man. And everything cost me about $40 just to do all of that, right? Like, they repainted it, they re-lacquered it, and they changed the leather. They I don't know how much more they did, but everything looks amazing, right? Everything looks perfect when it comes to that. Now, my doll, and I had so many problems with this doll. I already mentioned the brand, so I guess I'll say it. Like, this is from the old Japan, and this was one of the worst. This was a custom set, and it really has been falling apart. Everything's falling apart. But this doll, so I don't remember what repair I did with it, but the leather, yeah. So the leather down here and the pieces here, they broke off, completely off. So let me try to put it in the camera, a little bit closer to the camera. Oh, just dropped something. Okay, so if you guys maybe you can see this. I don't know if you can, let me see. Okay, so if you see that there's a piece of leather here they put on top of the leather, and then they restitch all of this. And I could have sworn there was more that they did. Okay, so like this piece of leather right here, it cost me like $15 to fix, right? And you know, it looks brand new, and I have no complaints about it, right? Like it came out great, and it was like $15. And the guy comes to the dojo to pick it up and to drop it back off. So it's like I don't have to. I just have to bring it to the dojo, which I'm going there anyways, right? And the guy just takes it, comes back 2 weeks later and he's like, oh, here it is, $20, $15, whatever. So that's what I'm saying. I think the Bogu for Japan, it's made with this in mind, right? Like a lot of the stuff, a lot of these little problems, they're so easy to fix here. But for us, I want to maybe do like I want to try to find somebody that is going to be friendly enough to maybe do like a seminar or something live about Bogu repair. So that way I can share that and just to make it a little bit more accessible for people. But it's impossible, right? Like it's impossible to get these repairs. One of my cotes is breaking up on the palm here. I'm gonna take it to the dojo. I'm gonna be like, how much is to repair this? And can you repair without replacing a palm? Do I have to replace a palm? How much is it? But I don't think that you can replace a palm for less than like $120 for both kote, right? Outside of Japan. So anyways, let me catch up. Richie, you said you will do research to compare prices and see which one suits you the best. One last question, do you have your Shinai case decorated? And if that's the case, can we see it? I don't have it decorated. Oh, okay. I'm gonna share this. I hope I don't make you guys jealous. So, and by the way, guys, and the reason why I'm spending time with this is because, again, Kendo has to be about bringing enjoyment too, right? And a lot of times for us, as you see, my dough, this dough is red, and I have another dough that is black. It's a matte black. It's not the shiny black. And you know, even these little things, they keep people in Kendo, right? Like, so encourage it. I don't think it's bad to kind of like, you know, push people away from like, oh, you have a fancy dough, or oh, you have stickers on your things. Maybe you don't want stickers on the dough, right? But like in your case, on your Bogu bag, like patches and stuff like that, that's totally fine. So, oh wait, you said $40 for men repair. That's not bad. How do you get stuff repaired in Japan? I think I said that, right? Like I just take it to the dojo. The guy comes in. If not, you just take it to a repair shop, and yeah. As a matter of fact, if you see, I wanted to experiment. I wanted to make a video about this, but I guess I got lazy about it and I haven't done it. But if you watch this Tsukagawa, give it a second. And sorry guys, because Japanese apartments are like so tiny, right? So if you watch this Tsukagawa, it's extremely short, right? Not extremely short, but it's much shorter than it should be, right? And I wanted to try a shorter Tsukagawa, so I literally went to the store. I put my hands where I wanted to have the hands, and I told her, please make me Tsukagawa like this. And she measured it, cut it, and did it, and you know, didn't charge me any extra just for cutting it and sewing it. So anyways, Bogu bags. So normally I use the Bogu bags that are like, you know, fabric, and I got this one like probably 12 years ago, even more. And I used this for years, and I also had a white one that a sensei gave me. But there's a lady and a guy in my dojo that makes Shinai bags, and she sells them. And I saw that, and I was like, okay, let me see what you have. And she made this Bogu bag, this Shinai bag, and it was like $35, something like this. It's not bad, right? And it has the crane and it has the turtle. So I forgot. I know like long life, and I remember the meaning of the crane. But I think this is gorgeous. I love it. So hopefully she'll make more. I mean, I think she will make more. She makes a couple, and maybe I can share some with you guys. But I normally don't like the strap Shinai bags. I like to have them like this. I think they look better for me. But now, especially when I'm going to dojos that we're doing kata, I'm like, I think I should get one just so I can bring the bulk in, right? Like a little bit more comfortable, because it's hard to bring them in here. So yeah, So that's how I keep my Shinai bag. I don't have any decorations on it. I don't have any patches. There's a guy, I forget his Instagram, in California, that he makes cool patches that maybe I should put some in one of the bags. But I don't know, this bag, especially this bag, looks so cool like this that I don't want to change it. Richie, you're saying that your kote has some enormous hole in the palm. So if they have a hole inside of the palm, I did a video with Francis from Seisho, Canada, right? Like he makes kote. One trick is that you can get a tsukagawa, right? Like one of these guys that is old, so like broken down or whatever, and cut it, right? And you can make a patch with this leather, right? This is a good option for it. Make sure to use a leather needle and thread that's going to be strong for that. But also there's what's called leather bondage, I think it's called, like it's leather glue. So you glue it where you want it before, and then you sew it, right? So that way like it stays in place and so on. That's some of the tips that I got for that. Richie, so you made your own Shinai bag and your bokken with the tablecloth from your grandma at the beginning. Oh, that's cool. But you actually went to buy the fabric to do your own Shinai bag and start selling it for $15 each one. Listen, in the Discord server, if you do that, in the Discord server, we have a promote yourself page. Put it out there, man. Like that, I love this type of entrepreneurship, and you know, if I can help you in any way, let me know. And that'll be cool, because you know, this is the way I think we can make Kendo more popular. Well guys, normally I like to keep my streams a little bit shorter than this. We've been going for a while. What I will do is I'll try to do another stream maybe at different times too, but I like the vibes on today's stream, so I really enjoy it. So obviously everybody that showed up today, it's a good time for you guys, so I can do a stream for you guys maybe at this times. I'm still trying to figure out what will be the best times. So thank you very much for passing by. If you're watching the stream after, make sure that you're subscribed and come back to the stream. If you have any questions, anything I can do to help you out, make sure that you let me know. And if you would like to support the channel, you can do so with a super thanks, or you can also become a member by hitting the the pinned comment right now on the chat, and you can also help support the channel that way, becoming a member, and you get some extra perks. Just quick reminder, if you would like to be part of the Discord server, here is the link. And I would like to see you guys there. Maybe if you want to talk, you want to share something, you can let me know. Lily, thank you for the stream. Now, thank you for being here. And you guys keep me motivated to make sure that I keep studying and keep myself on check for this. Hopefully you'll find a regular schedule soon. Yeah. Also, a couple of news. I am on the process of moving from Kobe. I am in Kobe right now. I'm in the process of going to Osaka. Just because I have a lot of more friends, a lot of more Kendo there. So that's going to be interesting. But yes, I am trying to figure out what will be the best schedule, not only for me, but also for you guys. Because kind of like 11:30 at night on a Sunday, it's a little bit tough sometimes, right? Like especially if I had practices, because, I'm a Kendo addict, right? So I'll go to 2 practices on a Saturday sometimes, then practice on a Sunday, and I'm exhausted and kind of want to go to sleep. And yeah, it's a pain. But maybe I'll try next week for a Sunday a little bit earlier. So I see how that goes. Okay, guys, thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. And hopefully I'll be pulling out a video this week as well. So take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.